Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. The co-host is resting in another part of the house today. Let's just let her stay there. Today, I'm here to discuss a banned book. This is a collection of short stories by Stephen King. It is called Just After Sunset. There are 13 stories here. And if you do read this book, I suggest that you also read the introduction. There's no spoilers there, so you don't have to worry about that part. But Stephen King does talk in general about why he wrote these stories. And they were actually written very early on in his career. And basically, he needed the money for his household, for his family. And many were previously sold and published in men's magazines. So that's where most of the stories come from. So what kinds of stories are these? What are these all about? Well, typical of King, many are horror. There is one about a cat who is possessed, or at least has some kind of superpowers, and it is somewhat graphic. Some are not now, but they may have some violent element to them. For instance, one is about a man who has an unexpected run-in with a man who is physically abusing his wife. One is a downright dirty story. It's about a man who becomes trapped in a porta potty on a hot day in Florida. And then the porta potty gets tipped over. So that one is quite dirty. Some are about obsession, such as the story of a man who can't stop riding his stationary bike. So, of all the King books in all the world, why the heck are we banning this one? Well, let's talk about where it's banned first. Recently now, I had discussed another Stephen King book called The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon as a banned book. And it was banned along with a long list of Stephen King books in 2024. And Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon is one of the books on it, as well as this one. In total now, 57 of King's books are banned or challenged and were either removed or under review in at least one county in Florida. Collier, Clay, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties are the specific counties where these books have been removed. So it's only 5 counties out of, I think Florida has 64, 67 counties, something like that. Now, there are 98 bans in all of Stephen King's books, because some have been removed, banned, challenged in more than one county, of course. Just After Sunset was removed in Clay County in May of 2024. It was removed from the list for the 9th to 12th graders, so we're talking about high school level. Clay County, in fact, accounts for only 1.5% of Florida's population and a whopping 80% of its book bans. And it is the only county where this particular Stephen King is banned. Okay, so why? Well, I've found that because these bans are very localized, in this case by the county school district, it's very difficult to really understand the specific reason for a ban on any one book. Also, it should be noted that Florida overall has more banned books than any other state. However, it should be noted, too, that the state maintains that no books have been banned in Florida schools. Here's a quote, and this is from the spokesperson. Her name is Sydney Booker, and she's the spokesperson for the Department of Education in Florida. And she says, once again, far left activists are pushing the book ban hoax on Floridians. The better question is, why do these activists continue to fight to expose children to sexually explicit materials? Now, I found this quote in an article in the Tallahassee Democrat, and I will link that article in the description. So here is the reply to that statement, and it is also in the same article. In contrast to the state list, National Free Speech Group PEN America, which uses a broader definition of what constitutes a banned book, they consider any book made unavailable to students as banned. Reports that Florida saw more than 4,500 instances of book banning last year, more than any other state, and making up nearly half the bans in the nation. That's a jump from 1,406 bans the year before. PEN America's list include books that were removed from school libraries and classroom shelves by districts without a formal challenge. Books that were pulled pending a review, and books restricted to students based on grade or parents' permission. So PEN America takes a much more broad look at the word banned. Is it being taken out of the county and burned? No, that's not the case. But it is being removed from the school libraries. Some are maybe not removed, but they're in a challenge status where they're under review. They're not available on the shelves either. So they are, in the meantime, while we argue these things, these books are not available to the students. And it could be just one parent or community member who has complained about it. That's the ironic part. So I guess it depends on your definition. Which doesn't surprise me, actually, in this day and age where you can't get often truthful or even factual information. It doesn't surprise me that we're, starting off the debate by using terms and definitions that we don't agree on. But here's the thing, again, the books are removed. They're not accessible to the students of the county in the same way that they were previously. So I think that's the point to make there. So now here is some information from an article that appeared in Newsweek in September of 2024. They talk about the governor in Florida and how he enacted legislation in 2022 banning books in schools that included any kind of sexually explicit material. And Republicans have claimed that the legislation keeps kids from reading books that aren't appropriate for their age. However, opponents see the legislation as an attempt to silence discussion about racial and LGBTQ plus issues in public schools, raising fears that it may censor a wide range of subjects. And as I have discussed in some of my banned book videos previously, the banned books are heavily skewed towards those that are written by people of color and those that are written by the LGBTQ community. So, it's not far out to say that, those books are targeted. Also, of course, we realize that there are not just King books that are being removed. They're not just the ones by Stephen King. The article goes on to say numerous books, including Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls, Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl, which is one that I did review as a banned book, have been pulled from school libraries since the book ban went into effect in July 2023. Popular contemporary novels by writers like Margaret Atwood, Judy Blume, and King have also been removed. So, what did King say about all this? Well, from the same article, it says, King said, "I have said it before and I will say it again. When books are banned from school libraries, run to your public library or the nearest bookstore and read what it is your elders don't want you to know." That was right after he tweeted, "My books are banned? What the F?" So, another thing that we need to think about with these Stephen King bans, there is a lawsuit that has been filed in court over this. I mean, as you can imagine, six major book publishers, including Penguin Random House, Simon and Schuster, and HarperCollins Publishers, have sued the state of Florida. The lawsuit argues that Florida's law uh, violates the First Amendment rights to free speech. So I do have a brief update on that lawsuit. Um, it was started last year in 2024, and here is the update as of March 2025, and this is from flaglerlive.com. And it says the state of Florida has lost its bid to have the lawsuit dropped. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Carlos Mendoza is that the lawsuit should proceed. So, yeah, they got the green light to continue on, at least for now. So let's continue to monitor that situation and see what happens. It's going to be interesting. And then, just as a final reaction by the Department of Education spokesperson, again, that's Sydney Booker, and this was in an email to the political site called The Hill. And again, I'll link it. She says, "This is a stunt. There are no books banned in Florida. Sexually explicit material and instruction are not suitable for schools." Okay, so what did I think of the book? Well, it has a 3.88 on Goodreads. It has a 4.5 on Amazon, and I'd give it a solid 4 myself. To me, it was no different than any other of King's short story collections. Some stories were great, maybe some not quite as much. I enjoyed the one about the man obsessed with his stationary bike, and I liked the one about the demon cat. And I think the porta potty one is an absolute hoot. I mean, these are King stories. You take them as they come. You take them for what they are. If it's sexually explicit material that they're worried about, then I would have to say that I didn't recognize any in any of these stories. So that's my review of this banned book. I thought it was a fun read. It was my 5th banned book of the year so far, so let's keep it going. If you like my content, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, everyone.